Well, Walter Smith's men can restore their 11-point advantage tonight at Rugby Park against second bottom Kilmarnock. But as Celtic found out last night, there's no room for complacency.
Kilmarnock stunned Rangers the last time the sides met by taking the lead after just 3 minutes. It wasn't long though before normal service was resumed. Eric Bo Anderson notching up a hat-trick as Rangers enjoyed a 4-2 victory.
Scoring early in that match and defended well, and we had to play very well to get ourselves in front. And we also had a very awkward game at Kilmarnock in the early part of the season where we were down 1-0 at half-time. So they've shown that they can come up and score against us. They had a very good run before the holiday period there, and I think injury and illness have upset that a little bit. And obviously Bobby will be getting some of his players back.
But the home fans could be excused for fearing the worst tonight. Killie went down 1-0 to bottom club Wraith on Saturday and have gone 3 games without scoring, while Rangers hardly broke sweat on Sunday in their 4-0 demolition of Aberdeen.
Well, that game at Rugby Park is around 11 minutes old and the score is Kilmarnock 0, Rangers 0. The action hopefully goal with Gillen.
Rangers in action at Kilmarnock this evening, and we can now go live to Rugby Park where Kilmarnock manager Bobby Williamson joined us now from trackside. Bobby, welcome to the football show here on Sky Scottish. Give us the latest team news for your side tonight.
Well, Big Jim McIntyre's been added to the squad now. He's got over his flu, and Billy Findlay's back in, and so is McKee. So we've got a lot of changes. The youngsters have done their job well, and I've got to bring the senior players back in now for the experience.
How do you set out your stall tonight, Bobby? Because obviously you can't just sit in against a team like Rangers.
Not at all. You can't sit in, as you say. We've really got to try and get at them and create them difficulties at the back. I think we can maybe get some joy if we get some deep crosses into their area with Big Jim McIntyre. At the end of the day, we'll have to defend well as well, because you'll never get going at Rangers all night.
Yeah. In 2 previous games this season, Bobby, you have managed to take the lead against Rangers, but it didn't last very long.
That's right, Jim. So hopefully if Rangers score first, we can maybe rattle in another couple, and that'll do us.
How do you psych your players up for a game like this, Bobby? Is it necessary to psych them up, or are they well up themselves?
I shouldn't think so, Jim. They should be well up for it tonight. These are the games that all players should be looking forward to playing in. As manager, I'm looking forward to the game tonight. I'm really going to try and enjoy it, but it's really down to the players to psych themselves up and get out there and do the business for Kilmarnock.
What about the relegation situation, Bobby? Is that something you think about at this stage of the season, or are you trying to look ahead of that?
What relegation situation, Jim?
Exactly, that was a very good answer, Bobby. Thank you very much indeed. Now, looking at this Rangers side tonight, full of quality despite the changes that they've made. I'm sure you've seen the referee's team line already.
No, I have not, but I'll see them as soon as I get in, Jim. And you're starting to get me nervous now talking about Rangers.
Well, I can tell you Bo Anderson's not playing, McInnes isn't playing, McLaren's not playing, and Inter Milan target David Robertson's not playing. How do you feel about that?
Did you miss out Gascoigne and Laudrup there, Jim?
So you're putting a man each on Gascoigne and Laudrup, Bobby?
No, not at all. I think I'd spoil the game for our players as well if we tell me to man-mark somebody. So they're just going to go out and try and enjoy the game. And hopefully if the Laudrup or Gascoigne's in their area, they can get close to them. OK, Bobby, will you enjoy the game from the dugout and we'll see how it goes. Thanks very much for joining us. I hope so, Jim. You're welcome.
Derek, he's certainly upbeat, isn't he?
He certainly is, and unfortunately for Kilmarnock, the last couple of games have been bad results. They were beaten at home by Wraith Rovers on Saturday. That was a bad one for him. But he's got a couple of experienced players back. That's important tonight, and he's going to need it.
It's tough for Kilmarnock, John, against Rangers and Celtic these days.
Yeah, but I think if you look back at the last game at Ibrox, they created problems for Rangers, and I think if Kilmarnock can keep it tight at the back, then I'm sure they'll create more problems. They played at Ibrox, they had an inexperienced team out. They've got a few experienced lads back tonight, and I'm sure they'll be up for it. That's the kind of attitude we're wanting from managers that are going to take on clubs like Rangers, isn't it? Well, when you see Bobby like that, he'll put that over to the players in the dressing room, and I'm sure they'll be relaxed about tonight. And I think it must be, he's got a few young lads in there, and it's good to see the manager that way. Derek, we mentioned to Bobby that they did take the lead against Rangers the last time down at Rugby Park, but they just weren't able to hang on to it.
Well, they just get Rangers angry when they do that sort of thing. And, I mean, it was a good goal. I mean, just look at the amount of players that come on and get in the box there. I mean, we were talking about 51,000 there. They're all in the box, and that's a great start for Kilmarnock. They got a lift there, and they had the lead for a little while, but you always had the feeling that if Rangers equalised, then they were going to run away with it. And in the end, that's really what happened.
Yeah, and John, in a game like that, when you do take the lead early against Rangers, it gives them so much time to come back.
Yeah, and over the years, it doesn't matter if we concede an early goal. We know we've got the quality players to come back in there with the Gascoigne and Laudrup in there. And I see Ali McCoy's back, and I'm sure Ali will be desperate to prove a point here tonight to Eric Anderson, scoring a lot of goals recently. But Coyce's the man that scored all the goals, and he'll be definitely up for it.
Derek, I asked Bobby Williamson there at Rugby Park whether he could afford to sit in, and he didn't really answer the question. I mean, how do you think Kilmarnock will face this one tonight?
I mean, you saw him there, he is bubbly. He will put that over to the players, but really they can't be cavalier. I mean, anybody that's cavalier against Rangers and Celtic, yes, fair enough, get in their half, but they're going to leave spaces at the back. And when you've got the pace of Laudrup, who runs at players, you know, on the break, then it's deadly. They've got to watch what they're doing. They've got to make sure they've got plenty of defenders back when they're going forward. Obviously, the main part of their team is the midfield. The midfield's got to work hard. When the ball's up there, they've got to get in the box, but when they're defending, they're going to have to get back.
And Johnny denied that he was even thinking about relegation, but I mean, I think if Bobby took a point from this game tonight, he'd be over the moon.
Yeah, I think it would be a great boost to the team and to the club if they got something out tonight. I think Rangers will win the game, but I think if Kilmarnock get a point, they'll be more than happy.
You wouldn't bet against Rangers, Derek, I wouldn't have thought.
I don't think you can. I think that they've done everything, unbeaten in the last 8 games, 8 straight wins, and I think they'll make it 9 there tonight.
OK, we'll talk about Rangers more in a minute. Let's get back to Rugby Park. As I've already said, no Eric Bo Anderson for Rangers tonight. He has a calf injury, and a few others also missing. Joining us from trackside now is our reporter Neil Henderson. Neil, we've heard that news about Bo Anderson. Presumably McCoist comes straight in his place.
Ali McCoist absolutely buzzing tonight, Jim, and it's a real blow to Rangers to lose Eric Bo Anderson. He's going through a tremendous spell. I spoke to Walter Smith yesterday and before this evening's game, and it's a blow to lose him because he really is buzzing. And Bo Anderson scored a hat-trick in the last game at Ibrox, 4-2 in the end, but Kilmarnock led first from the start, very confident Kilmarnock side, but in the end it was Rangers with their multi-millionaire strike force who eventually got the points.
Now what about McLaren and Robertson? They're not in the starting 11. Do they find a place on the bench, Neil?
Still waiting for the team news. Rangers, of course, arrive late tonight because of heavy traffic problems on the M77. We're waiting for that, but we do have the Kilmarnock team news for you. Lekovic in goal, MacPherson, Kerr, Anderson, Findlay, McGowne, Mitchell, Reilly, Wright, McIntyre and McKee. McIntyre back in as Bobby Williamson, Tilders, and on the bench, Loughlin, Brown and Roberts.
Now, Neil, Paul Wright was in some of the newspapers this morning saying he's never been on a winning side against Rangers with either Kilmarnock or St Johnstone. Psychologically, that's a problem for him, isn't it?
Yeah, there's real nerves in the Kilmarnock side. Yesterday I came down to speak to Bobby Williamson and he asked his players to have a few words with us. They're nervous, they're superstitious, because remember, the price of relegation down into the First Division is tenfold, and I think that there'll be a lot of worried players in this squad.
Neil, a quick prediction from you. Presumably you're going with Rangers.
But you'd have to go with Rangers, the way they've played so far this season. 4-1 back in August, 4-2 here today. 4-2 rather, early in the season at Ibrox. I've got to say, though, it will be a high-scoring game. OK, Neil, thanks very much for joining us. Let's get back to Derek and John here in the studio. Derek, Rangers going into a game like this, they're not going to fear Kilmarnock, but they must be aware that Kilmarnock are well up for it. Oh, they will be well up for it. I think Kilmarnock are looking for a result to get them back on the rails again. They need a win desperately down there. And I know Bobby spoke about, or didn't speak about the relegation, but they are down there. They need wins, and games at home, they've got to think they've got to take something from them. This is a big, big game for them tonight. And last time down at Kilmarnock, John, they did come back from that early blow and scored a few good goals. Yeah, I think the manager changed it halfway through the first half. After 30 minutes we were very poor, changed the system, and we went on to win comfortably. And you can see Gascoigne, he just produces tremendous goals for us. Great skill there, and when you look at this goal, Peter van Vossen, not long on, goes round the keeper, and what a sweet strike. The keeper does everything right there, doesn't he? Yeah. He takes him to the byline, but that's a magnificent shot from, you know, almost on the byline. But it took Rangers a while to get in their stride there. Van Vossen not figuring at the moment, and Bo Anderson out tonight, and McCoist will be delighted to get back. Well, Ali's the one. I mean, he's fed up reading about Eric Bo Anderson scoring all the goals. He's the man that wants to be in the papers all the time, Ali, and he'll be desperate, and I think he's a certainty to score tonight. John, David Robertson apparently not playing tonight, and reports this morning that he's interested in Inter Milan. Now, that's maybe quite flattering for him, but an interesting story nonetheless. Yeah, but I think, you know, his contract's coming to an end. You don't know whether he's going to stay or go, and all this speculation, whatever club, I see it was Manchester United last week, Inter this week, it'll just
carry on like that to the end of the season.
Yeah, Derek, the agents are stirring it up at this time of the year.
This is when they make their money, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's coming near the end of the contracts, the big money they'll make. But the reason that McLaren and Robertson aren't playing, I mean, they're not injured. Remember, they're just back from long-term injury problems, and it's very, very difficult to play as many games in as many days.
And some controversy, some goals, some new faces. Gillen has the details.
That's right, John. Once again, Paul Gascoigne was saint and sinner for Rangers last night. But Gaza is likely to escape censure after making obscene gestures in his side's 1-1 draw at Kilmarnock. Gascoigne made the gestures in the direction of the Killie goalkeeper Dragoje Lekovic after scoring Rangers' equaliser at Rugby Park. But the referee didn't see the incident, and it won't feature in his match report, which goes to the SFA and the Scottish League. So it seems Gaza won't be punished. Well, Walter Smith has been saying for weeks now that the race for the Premier League title is far from over. And he was proved right last night when Rangers dropped 2 points in a pulsating match at Kilmarnock. It leaves Rangers 9 points ahead of Celtic at the top. Celtic, though, have a game in hand. Perhaps more worrying for the Rangers manager will have been his side's poor finishing at Rugby Park. Kilmarnock may be second bottom of the table, but as Wright showed against Celtic on Tuesday, fear of relegation is a great motivator. Although not for the first time this season, Killie had reason to thank their goalkeeper Lekovic. The home side attempted to take advantage of a lacklustre Rangers team in the first half. It was always Rangers who looked the more likely to score though. But it was Kilmarnock who went ahead a minute into the second half. A cool finish from self-confessed Rangers fan Colin McKee, ensuring that for the third time this season, the Ibrox men were playing catch-up against Killie. At the other end, Lekovic was doing all he could to keep the lead intact, while Brian Laudrup had to watch this effort hit the post. And coming up, a miss Ali McCoist will want to forget. Gascoigne's perfect pass finds Cleland, who sets up McCoist, but the finish was woeful. It was the fired-up Gaza who pulled Rangers level. He met Laudrup's cross only to see Lekovic pull off a wonder save, but the Englishman was there at the second time of asking. Rangers had chances to take the 3 points, but again McCoist was the villain in the move which should have produced the winner, as Kilmarnock held on for the draw and a valuable point in the battle against relegation.
It doesn't matter who we get the points against, we've just got to try and keep on picking up points, whether it's Rangers, Celtic, Raith Rovers and Fairland. We've really got to keep on picking them up, especially against teams around about our area in the league. That's the ones we really got to win, they're the 6 pointers.
Any assumptions that people have been making before, I'm sure the same people that were saying the league championship over will now say, I told you so, but I think the people that are involved, that's the football management, are the people who, you know, have said that the championship is not over and won't be over until you can't be caught.